that girl Henny. Y'all gotta go to her channel.
The girl Henny, do you know who she is?
She a blogger or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like, where this lady come from?
Girl been on your ass.
She on your life, G.
Shout out to Henny over there.
What's poppin'? Welcome back to the bar. It's your girl Henny, and I'm about to pour plenty of the hot Henny that y'all love to sip on. So if you are new here, welcome. Please be sure to like, comment, and of course subscribe. Click that notification bell, select all so that you get notified whenever I do a video. And if you are returning Mob Down Henny Gang member, yeah. Now let's get into this content. So the last time that I left off, I had brought y'all to the point where Tammy had met Terry, and Tammy had already, started dealing with him. She knew that he had a common law wife. She knew he had other girlfriends. He was talking to her about those other girlfriends and their problems. And he brought Tammy into his money laundering business. Tammy then in turn, remember I asked y'all what happened. What did Terry do that pissed Tammy off? Well, Terry broke up with Tammy, okay, in mid 2008, and in July of 2008, Tammy took her behind down there to the DEA, and she went to Jack Harvey, and she started singing like a canary, and she got the case opened on Terry for his money laundering, right? But in the course of that investigation, she started telling them about his drug activities as well, and how he was moving, how he was washing his money, how she had been involved in washing the money. So we don't know if it was the breakup. We don't know if it was the fact that she was laundering money for him and he wasn't paying her back all of her money, or if it was because he started seeing another woman and demoted Tammy. Oh yes, we're gonna get into all of that, but we got to pick back up where we left off at, and where we left off at is Terry was getting arrested. Now I made a statement in my last video that had some people like, because it's like, what do you mean, Henny, that Tammy wasn't the reason why he was taken down? Well, let me explain to y'all. And that's what this document is that is on the screen right now, because this document right here, this is document number 68. Okay, and this is the factual findings from the Terry White case. Now, in this document, I have this up on the screen because it's going to explain the ticker that's going across the bottom of the screen where it says everything is alleged, because we weren't there, so we don't know what really happened. Because in this document, it says that on July 3rd, 2009, this all went down. I mean, July 2nd is what it says on this document, but it was July 3rd when all of this went down. But either way, be it the 2nd or the 3rd, we know that Terry did not make it to the 4th because there was no 4th of July for Terry. Okay. Anyway, so what had happened was the manager of YRC Inc., which is a freight carrier, they called TFO Prater. And the reason why the manager called TFO Prater is because he was like, yo, we got this suspicious package down here that you need to come and investigate and check it out. So Prater's like, oh, word? All right, cool. I'm coming down there to check it out. So now, these two right here already had a working relationship with one another. Yep, they sure did. They had a working relationship with one another, and it's right here in Terry White's transcript, which is document 64. And on document 64, if you want to take the time to read that, you can. I will go through and read documents later. I just want to get y'all through the story because, child, it's a lot of documents to be going through. All right, so Prater and the manager at the freight yard at YRC already had a working relationship with one another, because this manager would call him whenever there was a suspicious package, or Prater wanted to work a narcotics case, or needed him to keep an eye out for a package that was coming in because they done got word of it or whatever. He would call the manager. So when the manager did this was not anything that was new to either one of them. He called Prater, come. That's the usual standard practices, right? Right. So the name on the package was Charles Revere. And the reason why this manager was alerted to all of this is because of a couple of things. Number one, It was the way that this thing was shipped, but it was also the amount that was paid for the shipping. Okay. So the manager says that the air compressor basically should not have weighed as much as it weighed. All right. Now, him working there, he would know what an air compressor that's empty, what the weight of it would be, and an air compressor that's stuffed with something would be. But the way that this air compressor was situated is it was mounted in the center of a pallet, right? So he's like, what is this? And I guess there was no like bubble tape, no safety precautions, because this compressor cost $400 and some odd dollars, and the shipping was $200 and some odd dollars. So he's like, yeah, let me get Prater down here. All right. And if you don't understand why that's so significant, then I will explain it, because there are some people that don't understand what's going on here. This is what's called trafficking, drug trafficking. Okay. And so when you ship anything, you know, everything that you ship has to be weighed. So when you ship an air compressor, the air compressor that has nothing in it, it weighs one thing, which means the price is one amount. When you ship it stuffed with about 15 kilograms of Mary Jane, it's going to weigh a whole lot more. So yeah, that was suspicious. And when Prater got there, he investigated. He found that there was a dent on the compressor in an area that it should not have been dented, because the way that it was mounted wouldn't be able to get dented that way, right? Then not only that, the bottom of the air compressor was a different color. It was discolored than the rest of it. There was an air valve on the side of it. The plate was a different. Basically, you could tell that this thing had been tampered with, right? Right. But when you go back into these factual findings, the part that is underlined here, Prater, they're claiming that he waited for a warrant. He ain't wait for no warrant, because he had the YRC security people, okay, open up the container, just open the valve, and he said he could smell Mary Jane and petroleum, okay, when it was opened up. Now, the reason why he knows that that combination right there is a red flag, first of all, it was Mary Jane. But he also broke down and explained that, you know, when people are smuggling things, they always try to mask the odor of what's inside, okay? So they used petroleum to kind of, you know, mask the smell. And to me, petroleum, that's gas. So they tried to mask the smell with that, but he smelt the Mary Jane even through that. Like, that's, they had some gas around the gas, you heard. So once he smelt that, he had the security guard close it back up, and then he asked for a warrant. Once the warrant came, he got word there's a warrant, opened it up, and he found the Mary Jane inside. Okay. Now, what he did was he then went and put on a worker's uniform, all right, and was sitting with the pallet on a forklift, waiting for them to tell him when Charles got there. Now, while they were doing their investigation into what was going on inside of that air compressor, Charles was calling the shipping yard. Charles was calling to find out about the status of the package, because Tammy and had already told us in these court documents, she said, and you won't see it, Tammy had already told them that Terry and them, his whole network of people, they be watching UPS and FedEx and all of that for when their packages arrive. So that means, that leads me to believe that Terry was watching, and he knows that his package had arrived. His air compressor was there. So he wanted to go pick that up. So he's calling while they investigating or whatever. And while this is all going down, Prater goes and puts on a worker's uniform, gets on that dock, and is waiting for him to come. So about 30 minutes later, here comes Terry and Charles in this F-150 pickup truck, okay, a red Ford F-150 pickup truck, okay, driving through the dock. They got word, okay, they just came through the gate or whatever. The crazy thing is that Prater did not know what the hell Charles looked like. All he knew was that Charles was the person who was coming to pick this up. So he's just sitting there waiting to figure out what the hell Charles looked like, okay? So they announce over the loudspeaker that he was there. Prater goes out. He sees Charles. Charles shows him the shipping slip, shows him where he's parked at. Prater takes the air compressor that they know is stuffed to the brims with Mary Jane out to the pickup truck, drops it into the pickup truck while let me back it up. He takes the forklift to the pickup truck. Charles is outside the pickup truck. So you know who moved the pickup truck into position for them to be able to receive the shipment? Terry. Terry moved the pickup truck. So that Terry gets out the passenger seat, gets in the driver's seat, backs it up, gets it into position. Prater drops it down into the pickup truck. And once they now have possession of the air compressor with the Mary Jane in there, they swoop in and they arrest Charles and Terry. And that is how Terry got arrested. And that is why I said Tammy was not the reason that he was taken down, but she is the reason why he got down and he stayed down. All right. So now this is where things start taking an interesting turn, because here is Charles's grand jury charges. Okay. This grand jury and criminal indictment came down on July 14th. Okay. And it says right here in the grand jury indictment that it was July 3rd of 2009 when all of this happened. So again, that would mean that while this is saying that this is a factual background, it's actually not a factual background. But it's okay, because I want y'all to hold on to that, because we're going to be coming back and spinning the block on that document in a minute. Now, I'm going to read you some of this document and we're going to get down into it, because it says that beginning on a date unknown to the grand jury, but at least by March of 2005 and continuing until on or about July 3rd of 2009 in the Northern District of Georgia and elsewhere, the defendant Terry Bernard White and Charles Revere did knowingly and willfully combine, conspire, confederate, agree, and have a tact understanding with persons known and unknown to the grand jury to violate Title 21 of the U.S. Codes, okay? To knowingly and intentionally possess with the intent to distribute a Schedule I controlled substance that is at least 100 kilograms of a mixture and substance containing detectable amounts of Mary Jane. Now, pause right there, because Prater also did say that he saw some type of white mixture in there. He didn't know what that was. So we don't know if it was cocaine or not. And I know I said 15 kilograms. That's because I didn't want to, tell y'all. It was 100 kilograms. 100 kilograms of Mary Jane. So now let's get into the ways and manners of conspiracy, because here is where you guys are going to hear Tammy's handiwork. All right. So it says Terry Bernard White would negotiate with others to purchase multiple kilograms of Mary Jane for distribution. White would arrange for others to distribute and assist in the distribution of Mary Jane to various buyers in the Northern District of Georgia and elsewhere. White would receive money generated from the sales of Mary Jane. White would deposit money generated from the sales of Mary Jane into accounts under his control. White would cause others to deposit money generated from the sales of Mary Jane into accounts under their control, and then make payments to third parties on behalf of Terry Bernard White. Okay, White would cause others to exchange currency at banks in order to obtain checks payable to Terry White or the Terry White Group for deposit into accounts controlled by White. White and Charles Revere would take delivery of a shipment of Mary Jane concealed within an air compressor on July 3rd of 2009, as charged in count 2 of the indictment. Okay, count 2 goes on to say that Terry and Charles aided and abetted each other, did possess with the intent to distribute a Schedule I substance that is a mixture and substance containing a detectable amount of marijuana in violation of Title Code 21. Okay, count 3, beginning on a date unknown to the grand jury, but at least by January of 2005 and continuing until July of 2009 in the Northern District of Georgia and elsewhere, the defendant Terry Bernard White did knowingly and willfully combine, conspire, confederate, agree, and have a tact understanding with other persons known and unknown to the grand jury to commit violations of the law of the United States of America under Title 18. Now pause for a second, because I know that y'all heard me read that. Before we continue on, I know that y'all heard me read this part about accounts under his control, accounts under others' controls, and third-party payments and checks being payable to Terry, Tammy, told about that. Okay, so now we're going to get down here into count 3. Okay, and it says in count 3, A, to conduct an attempt to conduct financial transactions affecting interstate and foreign commerce, which transactions involved the proceeds of specified unlawful activity, that is, monies generated by the sales and distribution of controlled substances, punishable under the laws of the United States of America. Boom, here we go with the money. So here's the thing. If Terry is being picked up because he was with Charles, and Charles was picking up a shipment of 100 kilograms. How did we get to his money? We got to his money because of Tammy. Scandalous. So basically what this is saying to you is they were watching him for the money laundering. They happened to look up and catch him with this Charles Revere thing. And boom, now that we've got him, we're going to charge him with everything that we got. We're going to throw the book at him and we're going to let him know we know every little thing. Okay. So this document goes on to talk about how he attempted to engage in monetary transactions and all of that, the conspiracy for it. We know what Tammy told, okay? But the crazy thing is, when they got down to the money and all of that, Terry had to have known, because they say Terry knew right here in this underlined portion right here. The defendant believes Tammy Cowins is CS1, okay? So Terry had to be tipped off that Tammy was the one who had dimed him out. Okay. And baby, let me tell you, Terry and his lawyers, honey, he had a good defense team. So on this document, it is dated August 25th of 2009. His attorney filed for a motion asking for Brady material, okay? And this would be a motion to disclose, which is this motion right here, of disclosure of exculpatory and impeaching information in his case. And if you don't know what that means, what it means basically is Terry's lawyers requested any evidence in the government's possession that would possibly exonerate him or cast doubt on him. You know, anything that would make them second guess that he's guilty of these charges. Also, what it does is it asks them to reveal any and all information that they have pertaining to this case. That would cast doubt on the witnesses or the witness, which would be Tammy. So them filing for this Brady motion. Let me tell you what they was asking for, okay? We're going to get into what they was asking for. They wanted any and all records kept by the DEA regarding Tammy Cowins, including but not limited to cooperation agreement with DEA, okay? They wanted not only that, they wanted all memos from the DEA, the IRS in regards to her. They wanted the following documents if they existed, which was DEA Forms 356, which is an informant payment record, DEA Form 202, which is an informant establishment record, DEA Form 473, a cooperating individual agreement, DEA Form 103, voucher for payment for information and purchase of evidence. Pause. That's crazy to me because the government will purchase evidence from you. And any deactivation reports or declarations of an unsatisfactory informant in reference to Ms. Cowins, okay? They also wanted information and discovery regarding an ongoing physical relationship between Ms. Cowins and the defendant from April of 2008 to July of 2009, which means that they wanted any and all information that they had about their relationship going from the time that she went over there to the DEA and started yipping and yapping her mouth all the way up to the time that Terry got arrested, okay? Defendant further seeks all communications between the government and Ms. Cowins, which reference in any way, the physical relationship between Cowins and the defendant during the time Cowins was acting as an informant for the government. So what they are trying to do is they are trying to put pressure on the government like, yo, she was over here sleeping with the defendant, bro. She was over here sleeping with the defendant, and we need to know all of the information that you have regarding that. Did she disclose that to you? Because that's the other thing that they're trying to establish. Did she disclose that information to them and they continued on using her? They also wanted any and all information that discovered. Okay, wait. Any and all consideration or promises of consideration given to or on behalf of Cowins or any other government witness or expected or hoped for by any witness. By consideration, defendant refers to absolutely anything, whether bargaining or not, which arguably could be of value or use to a witness or to persons of concern to witness, including but not limited to formal or informal, direct or indirect leniency, favorable treatment or recommendations or other assistance with respect to any pending or potential criminal, parole, probation, pardon, clemency, civil, tax court of claims, administrative or other dispute with the government or any other authority or with the other parties, criminal, civil or tax immunity, tax immunity grants, relief from deportation, forfeiture payment, payments of money, rewards of fees, witness fees and special fees, provisions of food, clothing, shelter, transportation, legal services, or other benefits, placement in a witness protection program, in former statutes of the witness, and anything else which arguably could reveal an interest, motive, or bias in the witness in favor of the government against the defense, or act as an inducement to testify or to color testimony. Now, that is a nice way of saying it, to color the testimony. So lie. Or to lie. With respect to Cowins and what she revealed to the agents in this case, defendant specifically requests that the court examine the composition books kept by DEA agent Harvey. Okay, they asked for Harvey by name and any other DEA agent who had contact with Cowins to inspect them for potential Brady regarding Cowins. Okay, and any and all informant files on any of the government witnesses, the existence and identity of all federal, state, and local government files on the witness, particularly those of the DEA, and the existence and identity of all official internal affair, internal investigations, public integrity investigations, or personnel files relating to or connected with each witness who was or is a law enforcement officer. Baby, they wanted everything. Do you hear me? Everything. They wanted everything. Okay. So now we're going to get over here because, yes, we finna read all of this. Okay. We are going to read all of this because, baby. So you know, with them asking for a Brady motion, they were asking for a Franks hearing. Okay. And they asked for a warrant. Okay. Special Agent Jack Harvey asked for a warrant on July 7th of 2009 for him to be able to search Terry's properties. Terry had a penthouse at the Four Seasons, and he owned 3 other properties. He had like 9 safety deposit boxes and I think about 6 or 7 bank accounts. It wasn't very much in the bank accounts, but still. But in those safety deposit boxes, baby, he had over $2 million worth of jewelry. But that's not where we're going to get into. We're going to get into this because a lot of people have been saying that they feel like Tammy's motive was because she caught Terry with another woman. And so because she caught him with another woman, that was her motive to be able to go out there and snitch on him. Let me explain something to you. If that's all it takes for somebody to go out there and snitch, that ain't a person I would want to be associated with. Hello. Especially when you already knew that there were other people involved in the situation. But let's read what they said they believe the motive was. So, CI1 provided the lion's share of information for the finding of probable cause, which is true because she provided all of a lion's share, a bulk of the information for them to be able to get these warrants to go search Terry's properties, to be able to seize his cars. The man had like, 5 or 6 Benzes. We'll get into that in a minute. They seized his cars. They took credit cards. They took the jewelry into possession of them. Baby, she gave them everything. All right. As will be discussed below, the affidavit, however, was suspiciously silent as to how and under what circumstances this plethora of information was obtained. Further, to find probable cause, CS1 had to be believed. All right. And it says right here, defendant believes Tammy Cowins is CI1. Now, she's not a CS at this point. She is a confidential informant. She's not being paid. Like I told y'all in the last video, she was giving all of this information up for the free. She was not being paid by the government for any of this information yet. She was a confidential informant. Just a citizen giving information. Okay. Miss Cowins had been a steady girlfriend of Mr. White even after Mr. White began seeing Miss Linton, and continued to have a sexual relationship with Miss Cowins despite breaking their principal relationship. And while she was taping Mr. White for the government and acting as an informant for them from June 2008 to from 2008 to June of 2009, she continued to have a sexual relationship with Mr. White, and she used her sexual relationship as a device to get him to talk on the phone. Sound familiar? Because didn't she use her relationship with Cromer as a device? That's okay, because that's the next part that's coming up, baby. That's the next part we getting into. All right, we getting into Cromer. All right. Now, this Miss Linton person, if we go back to this document, I believe it's this document, right? Nope, it's not that document. Is it this one? It's in one of these documents. Let me tell you something about Miss Linton. I don't know who Miss Linton is. They talk about her like one time, and then she's mentioned a couple of, like, she's mentioned as being the owner of one of these safety deposit boxes that they actually went in and went through and all of that. But Tammy was demoted to side chick. Okay. None of this information, however, was included in the affidavit. Her motive to lie: Mr. White had chosen Miss Linton over her, and her use of inappropriate methods while acting as an informant were not disclosed to the magistrate. So that is what they are saying and alleging that her motive was, is because he chose Miss Linton over her. So when they broke up in mid 2008, this was why, because he went to go be with Miss Linton, but he continued to clap Tammy's cheeks all the way up until 2009, when he got arrested and put in Click City. Moreover, Miss Cowins had and continues to have strong ties to former BMF leader Demetrius Meech Flannery. She was involved with Meech in some manner prior to her relationship with Mr. White. Mr. Harvey was actively involved in the investigation of Mr. Flannery. And it is inconceivable that if Miss Cowins had not told him, he did not already know of the relationship. This is an extremely important factor as it puts into context the recorded conversations referenced in the affidavit about Mr. Flannery. So there are recorded conversations about Meech. The calls themselves also show a personal nature of the relationship. Mr. Harvey, the affiant, however, failed to include the bulk of the tapes. The affidavit failed to disclose that CI1 was engaged in illegal conduct herself, and that she might also be motivated to make statements she made to the agents to curry favor with the government. Now, here we have Meech being brought up in Terry White's case. her ties to Meech, her ties to BMF. Remember, in her testimony, she said, in the last video that I did on Terry and Tammy, she said that Terry rode with her one time to go see Meech a visit. That's what she said. Her words, I'm quoting her, to go see Meech a visit, to go visit Meech. Child. So this is where they are asking for a Frank's hearing because of all of the conduct that they had just broken down. Okay. Another common basis for the failure of the warrants is thus the illegalities of the resulting searches is the failure of the affiant to establish any basis of knowledge on the part of the CIs, because Terry had not one, not two, but 3 CIs on him. It wasn't just Tammy. There was 2 more that was on him. They was tag you it, tag you it, tag you it. Yo, it's not safe out here, bro. It's never been safe, but this is diabolical, okay? So it said that he didn't bother to establish any basis of knowledge on the part of the CIs referenced in said affidavit or their respective veracity, okay? Starting in reverse, CI3, according to the affidavit, is a 2-time convicted drug dealer facing federal charges for another drug crime. There is no statements that he or she has ever before been an informant to provide truthful information. The affidavit is also devoid as to the basic knowledge of the affiant or even time frame for the alleged information he provided. Likewise, the affiant provides no indication as to the veracity of CI1, whether she was previously used as an informant, her reliability, etc. Moreover, affiant Harvey set forth many statements by her without even a hint of basis of knowledge. For example, weapons at Terry's Mayfair residence, penthouse 505. Her bare assertions are set forth as fact without any basis provided. Even when information was based. Even when information has a basis noted, there is no time frame. So they're saying even when she gives information that has a base to it, he's not saying when this information was given or when is the time frame that they're talking about. So now they go on to say, was it 3005, 2007, 2008, if ever? While she claims to have been in the Mayfair residence and seen money, there is no corroboration. And again, her veracity and basis of knowledge was never established. Okay, so now this is what they based all of their warrants on. All right, the evidence generated from the search warrant, the evidence generated from the search of the safety deposit boxes in the name of Terry White must be suppressed for additional reasons. First, there was no probable cause linking the safety deposit boxes to the evidence sought by the respective warrant for the safety boxes. There was a call or two to Miss Linton referencing her access to keys. But other than that, there was no indication, certainly nothing even current, that any evidence of fruits of a crime would be located in said boxes. So they're like, look, you heard him talking to Miss Linton on the phone and asking her, for access to the keys to the safety deposit boxes, like where the keys at or whatever. But you don't even have no grounds. Like, what did you think was in those safe boxes? Like, y'all thought it was kilos? Like, what did y'all think was up in there? All right. It says counsel believes that the search of the safe deposit boxes exceeded the scope of their warrants. Counsel has been provided access to some of the items seized, and note that from the safe deposit boxes located at Wachovia, credit cards, etc., were seized, none of which was listed as items subject to search or seizure in the warrant. Okay. So basically, they just up here collecting stuff that they had no business collecting. All right. But then it goes on to say the search of the Four Seasons pursuant to the warrant must also fail. There is nothing other than a statement that Mr. White owns the apartment, which relates to the Four Seasons. None of the CIs profess to having been there. Nothing to indicate evidence of criminal conduct took place at the apartment or it contained evidence of a crime. But Tammy had just said that she saw money there. There was no connection to the place, there was no connection to the place search and no probable cause. As a result, the evidence obtained from the search of the Four Seasons and that derived therefrom must be suppressed. Okay, so now we're going to scroll back up because I know that's what she said. The Mayfair residence, penthouse 505. And then we down here talking about the Four Seasons, but I believe, let me go back up for a second. Oh no, I think it's down. Either way, I know that there is, okay, so there is documentation. Oh, there is documentation of everything that was seized. But before we get into that, we're going to get into the veracity of oh no, what is going on here? That is not supposed to be. Let me make sure. Okay, we are on the same document. Okay. We're going to get into the veracity of the informants. And we're going to start with 3 and work our way up to Tammy. This is document 80 in the Terry White case, and we're starting on page 24. So, CI3, the information from CI3 was corroborated by information from CI1 and the conversation of the defendant as detailed below. Further, the affiant detailed that the informant was a twice convicted drug felon and currently in custody on federal drug charges. So this is who CI3 was. Okay, CI3 was a 2-time convicted felon and was currently in custody. Okay, CI2, the information from CI2 that the defendant had dealings with Butler Tire was corroborated by the affiant through the $15,000 check to Butler Tire obtained as part of the bank record. We are going to get to that, trust me, all right? Now we're going to get into CI1, which is Tammy. All right. The affiant established that CI1 had no criminal record. The information provided by CI1 concerned the defendant and his drug association, his drug dealing, including parcel service shipments, his money and financial dealings, including a private banker, his use of code words, the use of a business front and filing of income taxes to establish his cover as a legitimate businessman. Much of the information provided by CI1 was independently corroborated by the affiant through records and by the defendant himself during the recorded telephone calls. For example, the informant's information that the defendant's source of supply was a member of the Solina cartel and he was named Yeager. Sinolio. I don't even want to say it right. Sinaloa cartel? I don't want no smoke, okay? Okay, it was repeated by the defendant in the telephone call recorded on April 21st of 2009. The defendant Nope. Okay. I had to look back like April. Though I had to, excuse me. The defendant's use of the Terry White group was verified by the affiant and it's doubtfully business viability explained by analysis of bank records and the tax returns of the defendant. The defendant's association with Wilbur and Wilbur's delivery of money to the Mayfair was verified by surveillance and recorded telephone calls. The defendant's association with Valerie Hill at SunTrust Bank was verified by bank records and a recorded telephone conversation. Defendant's association with Harry, Joe, Trevor, Timbo, and Moses and their criminal involvement with the defendant as related by the informant was verified by defendant in several telephone calls. Trevor Boyce, and Timbo, Timothy Walker, and their arrest on drug charges were mentioned by the defendant in a telephone call on May 1st of 2009. Joel Pevy was mentioned by the defendant in a discussion with the informant about the Macon case. The defendant's association with Harry Torbert was corroborated by the bank records and recorded conversations with Tolbert's wife. The telephone call also corroborated that the defendant was responsible for the marijuana seized from Tolbert, resulting in Tolbert's conviction. The information also talked to Tolbert, Moses, and Wilbur. The defendant's use of a walkie-talkie telephone to talk to Yeager was verified by the defendant during telephone calls. The fact that the defendant had many safe deposit boxes, including some the name, I think they meant in the name of Janelle Linton. Janelle swooped in and had access to things that Tammy did not. Or did Janelle swoop in and take over access of things that Tammy did have, and that was her motive? As reported by the informants. That means that Tammy told them about the safe deposit boxes in Janelle Linton's name. Was confirmed by Linton in a telephone call recorded on August 19th of 2008, and then the defendant in a telephone call recorded on September 2nd of 2008. The affiant included these and many more details that verified the information provided by the informant, which would be Tammy. This goes on to talk about the arrest, okay? But child, we ain't here for none of that. We're not here for all of Terry's information, because we could do a video on Terry. Terry can get a video by himself if y'all want to know all about Terry's information. I could go ahead and I can do a video, so y'all let me know down in the comments. Y'all say, hell yeah, run that ish, Henny. And I will go ahead and I will run Terry's whole case down to y'all in detail. But as y'all can see, Tammy, in the end, Tammy did some nasty work against Terry. Okay, her motives are very unclear as to what exactly was the reason that she decided to just turn informant. Before we go, I am going to tell y'all what all Terry did lose, okay? And this is in the preliminary order of a forfeiture. Now, if you don't know what a forfeiture is basically when you have to lose your property. You know, it's the loss or giving up of things as a penalty for wrongdoing. So in this forfeiture, Terry had to give up $1,420,708 in cash and money. He had to give up his home, 1, 2, 3, 4 homes that he owned. He only had to give up one Mercedes-Benz, but Terry did own multiple multiple Mercedes-Benzes. I could actually take you back to the document so that you could see that he had more than just one. Yeah, I didn't even get into Terry snitching, because Terry was a snitch too. Just so y'all know, Terry was a snitch. You know what? It doesn't even matter. We're talking about what he lost. Okay, he lost one Mercedes-Benz, which tells me that he was probably leasing the other ones. They had also seized $4,558.85 from one bank account, $2,999. You might as well say $3,000 from another bank account, another $2,188.79. $2,727.54, $1,188.49, $979.59. And then in the other account was $368.05, and another account was $415.91. And any and all funds in SunTrust Bank account number ending in 8804 held in the name of Terry B. White. Jewelry. I said I wasn't going to go through this jewelry, but let's get into this jewelry. A Harry Winston gold watch, 2 ladies 14 karat white gold earrings. Okay, ladies 14 karat gold earrings with 12 cubic zirconia. So there's cubic zirconias, but this one had black diamonds. Okay, 4 carat black diamond earrings for a lady. Okay, a lady's 14 karat white gold engagement ring set. 0.23 carats in weight, round cut diamonds. Okay, assorted jewelry, platinum cross, 14 karat gold box chain, a link chain, a lady's gold white and gold ring with 1.20 carat weight, round diamonds. Another white gold diamond wedding band. Remember I said wedding? I didn't tell y'all that Terry had a wedding band set. I don't even know what that is. Okay. Terry had a wedding band set right here. Where the hell is it? I just had it. Right here. A lady's 14 karat gold diamond wedding band with 1.25 carats total weight, princess and round cut diamonds. Okay. Yeah, that's a raggedy little highlight right there. Now, that right there, okay, it goes on to say another diamond ring with a smoky topaz in the center, and it was pear-shaped. But that right there. Now, it said he had a common law wife, but did Terry have plans to marry someone? Or was the common law wife his actual wife? Was Janelle his wife, the common law wife, and Terry picked her and went back to her and left Tammy? I don't know. But it's very clear that Terry had plans to marry somebody, because I don't know any man that just walks around and has a wedding band set just sitting around, laying around just in case. I mean, it's possible. Anything is possible, right? But then you see another diamond cut ring with 3 carats of a pear-shaped smoky topaz. Okay. More diamond gold rings for a lady. Okay. It just goes on and on. All of this is jewelry that he had. Do you see all of this? All of this jewelry. And it totaled about 2.4 million. Now, this right here says a lady's 14 karat white and yellow gold ring with 3.25 carats in diamonds, a princess cut diamond at that. This was signed out. Somebody retrieved that. Then they talking an Italian gold cut bracelet, another designer bracelet, another bracelet. And the reason why I'm talking about these designer gold cut bracelets is because isn't that what Tammy said? And to top it all off, they done took this man's Samsung plasma television, child. Now, I know y'all have seen the video where they were talking about how he had these 24 TVs that were mounted into the wall, and you hit one button and all the TVs came on and all of that. But they took this man's plasma TV. Now, why would you take that man's plasma TV? But this is all of the stuff. Terry basically, in the end, he lost everything. He lost everything. Tammy made sure when she took him down, she took him all the way down and all the way out. Now, 2009 is when she was out and about shopping around a deal with Cuffy. Because that is what Cuffy said. It was in 2009 that they began working together to get a movie for Meech based off of Meech's life. Shortly after this case was closed and Terry was sentenced in 2011, Jack Harvey retires and he hands Tammy over to Keith Cromer, who becomes her new handler. And this is where we enter into Cuffy, Fidel, and Keith Cromer. We are going to be getting into Keith Cromer and Tammy's, I said Terry, tangled, twisted, sordid affair, because there's a lot of layers to that. And I'm going to bring you that next week at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for tapping into Henny's DocuStories. If you have any questions about this portion of the video, please feel free to comment below. I will be doing videos running through the court docs, and I'm going to tell y'all, I'm going to give y'all a video on Terry snitching on Yeager. Yeah, because before y'all go to feeling bad for Terry was a snitch too. Yeah. So be on the lookout for that video, because that's not a part of the Tammy Cowins series that I'm doing. This is a part of the series. Okay, when it talks about Tammy's little dealings with these dudes, it goes to the series. When I start giving you little random things like how I gave you the Jack Harvey affidavit, that's not a part of the series. That is me giving you information, backstory on things. So yeah, I'm gonna give y'all that whole thing about Terry being a snitch. But anyway, that's where we're gonna pause it out. Next video, we will be getting into more things. Thank y'all for tapping in and tuning in. Thank you to everybody who has been following the series, who is following the timeline. Shout out to everybody who's following the court docs, who can actually let y'all know that I'm not making this stuff up. This stuff is actually in the court docs. But I will see y'all again in the next video. Shout out to all of y'all. Love is always love, y'all. Peace. We out. Make sure y'all like the video on the way out. Okay? Because I don't